What is up, everybody, and welcome to Season 2 of our Team Sky Career Mode. And this first episode of Season 2 is going to be a bit of a maintenance and upkeep episode, and we are also going to be racing the Tour Down Under. You can see some of our riders already with the race on their schedule. Get a little preview of the team. But first, we are going to show you the updated squad. There has been some movement in the star department. As you can see, Leo Hayter up to a 4.5 star. You can see his stats there. Hills already up to a 78, and he has so much room to grow. And also our new signing, Ide Skelling, moving up to a 4.5 star, which I don't remember him having any potential to burn, but we will take it regardless, as now he looks like he could be a real threat in one-day races. And our youngsters already progressing a tiny bit as well. Emil Herzog up to a 3.5 star, Max van der Meulen up to a 3.5 star, and Jan Christen up to a 4 star. So we are already looking better than we thought we would at the start of 2024. And you can also say hello to our new under-23 team, now just absolutely filled with potential. We have signed Aaron Sullivan, a 5-star potential puncher, Matthew Brennan, a 5-star potential sprinter is what it says. Right now he's at 66. That's going to have to get up before he signs to the main team. We've also signed Valdis Sakunas, Riley Stanley, Alex Belden, Reese Elliott, Ishmael Taha, or Taha Ishmael, I'm not quite sure, Tomas Pattinson, and Vitaly Svanidze. So our under-23 team looking much better than it did last year as well. And while we're on the subject of the junior team, we have signed a new scout, and it's a familiar name if you like pro cycling manager YouTubers. It's going to be Joe Timms, or Tim Soski, one of my favorites from back in the day before he moved on to greener pastures with GCN, but we are going to keep him alive in the PCM YouTube space by having him find us the best British youngsters he can. And next we will take a look at our sponsor objectives, the most important thing in career mode, and we're going to go by importance. A top 10 at Milano San Remo, which sounds very doable, is our most important race of the year. We need stage wins at the Giro, top 5 at Strade Bianche, top 5 at Tirreno Adriatico, a top 10 at Il Lombardia, a top 3 of the Tour of Britain this year, which I have checked. It's great news it's only a top 3 because it's an entirely flat race, which definitely doesn't suit us. But we're also going to be looking for stage wins at La Vuelta, the Tour de France, a top 10 at Paris-Roubaix, which I think that might be a bit too far for us right now. A top 10 at Liège-Bastogne-Liège, a top 5 in the British National Championships, a top 5 at La Flèche Wallonne, a top 10 at Ronde van Vlaanderen, a top 5 at Ghent-Wevelgem, a top 5 in the Criterium du Dauphiné. So we have some huge objectives. I think our team is strong enough to hit most of these, and we're definitely going to give it a go, because I think we could cause some serious damage here in our first season in the World Tour. And we have unfortunately received some more terrible news to start the season. It's the evolution of potentials. Vlad van Mechelen goes from a 6-star to a 4.5 star potential. Valdis Sakunas from our under-23 team goes from a 5 to a 3.5 star potential, and Aaron Sullivan pops down from 5.5 stars to 5-star potential, which still pretty decent rider in the future, but that Vlad van Mechelen news is really crushing. But we have reached stage 1 of the Santos Tour Down Under, our first race as a World Tour team, and we are going to look to try and win it. We've brought a strong squad, especially on flat stages like today. We've brought Paul Double, as you can see his stats there. Leo Hayter is going to be our leader with 78 hills. Ben Healy, Emil Herzog, Mark Hirschi, Ide Skelling, and Ethan Vernon, who's going to try and win these sprint stages for us. I think we have a pretty decent chance. If we look over at the favorites, it says we definitely don't, but we're going to try regardless. I think we've got a ton of talent on the flats, and we're going to see if we can get Ethan Vernon one win from one stage. And we are here with 10K left. Paul Double trying to move us to the front, and Lytle Trek is not having any of it, closing us down at the first opportunity. And it's going to be Mark Hirschi's turn to take over next, and I think that time is actually now. Apparently, I'm overrating our ability on the flats. So with 6K to go, we're going to go ahead and pop everybody's energy gel and hope that Mark Hirschi can bring us to the front. We're actually going to ramp it up a little bit more and let Ben Healy hopefully take over as soon as Hirschi's done. With 3K left, that's going to be now as we start to get blocked off, and that's going to be unfortunate. Ben Healy going to start his sprint. Ide Skelling and Ethan Vernon also going to launch. Jasper Philipsen all alone by himself in the lead right now. But it looks like Ethan Vernon might try to come around as Philipsen moves over to block us. Very nicely done by him as we come across the line in 5th place with Ethan Vernon, Caleb Ewan taking the stage. A little bit of early nerves for the Team Sky Boys in 2024. But that will take us to Stage 2 of the Tour Down Under, Woodside to Stirling, a 134.8 kilometer hill stage. The finishing hill doesn't look too steep, so this could be set up perfectly for a certain man from the Netherlands, Ide Skelling. Also Mark Hirschi and Ben Healy also going to be in the mix there. But if we take a look at the favorites for this stage, it's going to be David Gaudu, Caleb Ewan, Magnus Sheffield, but Ide Skelling is on there as we thought. So we're going to have a shot at this one. It's up to me to make sure I get it right this time. And here with just under 23K to go, we have taken the front with Paul Double. Unfortunately, Leo Hayter, Ben Healy, and Mark Hirschi not having great days, but we're going to do everything we can to set up Ide Skelling for this finish, try and push the pace here late in the stage. And here with 8K to go, Leo Hayter has taken the front. We are really going to try and push it now. Only 7K to go. We actually don't want to use that much of our energy early. But we're going to get Ben Healy ready next. And Mark Hirschi will also be prepared as Leo Hayter just about to run out of stamina. Ben Healy, everybody gonna use their energy gels, and Ben Healy does take over. Mark Hirschi, his red bar running out quite a bit as well, and Ide Skelling actually sitting pretty nice right about now as Ben Healy can crank it up to about 95, and Mark Hirschi can attack, allowing Ide Skelling with about 0.8K to go to start his sprint as Caleb Ewan comes around. But does he have the stamina? He does not. Ide Skelling going to take his first stage win in Team Sky colors, followed by Ethan Vernon in 2nd place. And there we see Ide Skelling on the top step of the podium in only his 2nd stage in Team Sky colors. We have high hopes for him, and he is already proving that he can do it at the top level. If we take a look at the general classification, it's going to be Caleb Ewan in 1st, Ide Skelling in 2nd by 4 seconds, and Ethan Vernon down there in 4th place, as well as Ben Healy down in 10th. And that win will take us straight into Stage 3, Unley to Paracombe, a 131.9 kilometer hill stage. The finish looks a little bit steeper today, but Ide Skelling in his 77 hill stat looks like we're going to have to try and get him into the leader's jersey. And we are here with just over 13K left. Kwiatkowski on the front, and we are looking just to stick with this group. Paul Double trying his hardest, and it looks like we do make it over the top. just in time to stick with this front group. And with 11K left, there is this slight downhill section which should allow us to recover. And then that last little ramp up to the top, we're going to try and get to the front. We have no time to waste right now, as we are just down to 9 kilometers left. Kwiatkowski, Großschartner, Timo Kielik also there. We want to be mindful of our red bars on Hirschi and Skelling, but Paul Double can be used right about now. We're going to set him at 90 for this tiny little uptick. Lars Bovin deciding to try and stay with us. I don't think that's going to work out too well for him. And we are going to hold our energy gels on this stage. We're going to actually crank it up to 92. And with about 4K left, we're going to pop the energy gels on everybody. There we go. Ben Healy, Mark Hirschi, Ide Skelling, Ethan Vernon, and Leo Hayter is actually going to get ready to lead us up this last hill. With 2K left, there he goes. Paul Double is done for the day as Leo Hayter can go ahead and sprint. Ben Healy as well. Mark Hirschi and Ide Skelling can try and get a little sprint off. It looks like right now we do have the top 3 positions. It's just a matter of who's going to win it from our group. And it looks like it's going to be Ben Healy, Mark Hirschi. It's going to be Mark Hirschi, Ben Healy, Ide Skelling in a sweep of the podium. It actually was way closer than I thought it was going to be. Leo Hayter comes across in 5th as well, and it's just absolute domination at the Tour Down Under so far. And there we can see another one of our new signings, Mark Hirschi taking his first win in a Team Sky uniform. And that has to be one of my favorite stages I've raced in this series. We have a 4-second gap back to Jonathan Narvaez as well. And I think in GC terms, that is going to move Ide Skelling into the top position. That beautiful orange jersey. That's not sarcasm. What's sarcasm? Mark Hirschi in 3rd, Ben Healy in 4th, Ethan Vernon in 5th. And just a great race so far for our boys. And that brings us to Stage 4, Norwood to Murray Bridge, a 152.7 kilometer flat stage where we're going to have to be on guard for attacks from Caleb Ewan towards the end. Well, I guess it's not really an attack if it's just a sprint finish, is it? But we're going to look to keep Ide Skelling in that orange jersey and maybe have Ethan Vernon move up a little bit, as he seems to be the most capable of challenging Caleb Ewan in these sprint stages. And we are here with just under 15K to go. The break still has about a minute. And Paul Double trying his hardest to lead the Team Skyboys to the front, as now we are just starting to come around a little bit. And down to 12K, I don't know if we're going to be able to catch this front group. There are some big names in there. I know Frank Bonamore's up there. I'm a big fan, but let's see if that translates into him being good in Pro Cycling Manager. But Paul Double being very useful this tour. Big fan of his. He's going to be a great domestique to have in these hilly races. But with 9K left, there's still a minute to that front group. Paul Double's actually going to have to increase his pace quite a bit. And it's almost Mark Hirschi's time to take over. And I think we're going to do that preemptively just because he has, well, not today. He usually has a better flat stat, but on Paul Double's +2 day is actually making him quite a bit better, as with 5K to go, we're going to go ahead and pop the energy gels on everybody. We just have to be focused on bringing this gap down now. With 4K to go, Ben Healy, it's going to be his turn to take over. Ide Skelling falling a little bit behind. Mark Hirschi now out of stamina. With 2K left, Ben Healy going to make a move to the right, start his sprint. Ide Skelling will as well. And Ethan Vernon going to start his sprint a little bit late, but we're going to hope that some people run out of stamina as Taco Vanderhorn and the break wins the stage. So hopefully we are in with enough time to stay in front. I think we will be, but I'm not quite sure. as our best finisher is Ide Skelling in 16th place. And there we can see Taco Vanderhoorn taking the stage and gaining 28 seconds on the rest of the field. I don't know how much he started the day with in terms of time behind us. And if we move over to general classification, we see Taco Vanderhoorn does take the lead ahead of Patrick Bevan by 9 seconds. And then Ide Skelling sitting in 3rd place. So we definitely have some work to do in these last 2 stages. And the first of those 2 stages is going to be Stage 5, Glenelg to Victor Harbor, a 147.9 kilometer flat stage, but we've got some elevation to play with there towards the end of the stage. Again, I don't think this is one that we're going to win, but as long as we keep Caleb Ewan behind us, I'll consider that a victory for Stage 5. And we are here with just about 23 kilometers left to go in the stage. Paul Double bringing us to the front. We've reached the bottom of Kirby Hill, the only categorized climb on the stage, and we're going to look to try and make it tough for everybody around us, as we have a long train capable of doing great on the hills and great on the flats. So Paul Double, we're going to use him early, and then Ben Healy's going to try and crack the group that has somehow managed to stay with us. Paul Double just about out of energy, and it's Ben Healy's turn to take over. And it looks like we are hurting a little bit, but it's not too bad. Leo Hayter should be able to keep up with Ben Healy, and once we get up top here, we can set it to 85, keep our red bars a little bit safer, and try and push the pace up that last little uptick on this flat section once again. Right now, we are in a group of 7 riders. 5 of them are Team Sky Riders, so we're going to try and keep this away as long as we can. Right now, it's 29 seconds back to a group of 14, and if we push the pace once again with 92, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch us before the end of this stage. And we are here with 8.5K to go. The group still 13 seconds behind us. It looks like they've caught up in that slow corner. That's unfortunate, but Ide Skelling and Ethan Vernon just doing a great job right now, keeping their energy up as Dries Devant looks to try and come around, but Mark Hirschi gonna crank up the pace up that last hill. We're trying to drop anybody that could stay with us, and with 4K left, we're gonna pop the energy gel on our sprinters, and Ide Skelling's gonna get ready to take over. Even though he would be our best shot right now at a leader's jersey, we're going to have to use him to get Ethan Vernon to the line. And with 2K left to go, Ide Skelling is going to start his sprint. And with about 1K to go, Ethan Vernon will start his as he tries to navigate through the rest of the field. And it's going to be Caleb Ewan coming around to take the win, followed by Jasper Philipsen and Ethan Vernon in 3rd place. So I think that will push us behind Caleb Ewan in the overall standings as well. And as you can see, after Stage 5, we have been completely pushed off the podium. Ide Skelling in 4th, Mark Hirschi in 5th, Ethan Vernon in 6th, and Ben Healy in 7th. But with 4 riders 30 seconds away from that top position, and the stage profile on Stage 6, I think that's a gap that can be closed. It's going to be close. We're going to have to play it just right, but I think we might still be in with a shot here. And here is our first look at the profile of Stage 6. McLaren Vale to Willunga Hill, a 150.4 kilometer hill stage. We're going to have to make some miracles happen. With Ide Skelling, our best place rider, in 4th place, we're going to look to get one of those 4 riders into a position to try and take at least 20 seconds off of Taco Vanderhoorn and Caleb Ewan. And we are here with just under 30K left to go. The front group has just been caught, and we are not going to let this group regain their stamina. We're going to push the pace up this first pass of Willunga Hill. We're going to try and get some damage into the legs of Taco Vanderhoorn and Caleb Ewan. And we're going to do that with Paul Double leading up to the hill. And we're going to set it up to about 87 on Ben Healy before Paul Double can just kind of sit back and relax, because we have what I assume is the best hill team here. And Ben Healy gonna bait Miles Scottson into an attack, but Healy really needs to ramp up the pressure. We have the squad to follow. Ethan Vernon might be a casualty of this strategy, but if Ethan Vernon's going to be a casualty, then Caleb Ewan might as well. We're actually going to tone it down a little bit. Ben Healy using just a little bit more energy than I feel comfortable with. Ethan Vernon also falling off the back. We'll set it to 90. We just have to make it to the end of this little flat bit at the top of Wollonga Hill in one piece, and it's going to be Mark Hirschi and Ide Skelling that we're going to try to use over the top just at the end of this flat bit. It might be a little bit too soon. There's still 20 Ks left, so I'm already rethinking my strategy, but we are out in front with a 20-second gap, which is exactly the amount of gap that we need, but we can't afford to push it too hard, because we still need some for that final climb. And with just about 8K to go, we have Emil Herzog on the front. We are just pushing the pace for the rest of this stage, trying to set up Hirschi and Skelling. Leo Hayter's energy not in a great position. We're, of course, going to wait a little bit on our energy gels for this stage, but Leo Hayter going to take over right at the bottom of Wollonga Hill and try and push this pace so that nobody else can follow. And Leo Hayter does take over now. Emil Herzog just going to sit up, and we're going to pop the energy gels on everybody. Leo Hayter just destroying the energy bars of our own riders. I wonder what it's doing to the riders behind us, as Hirschi's going to get set to take over now as soon as Leo Hayter runs out of that red bar. And we might have pushed the pace just slightly too high. Ide Skelling, well, actually no, we didn't. We are in a group of 4, and Ide Skelling with 1K to go has enough stamina to start his sprint with Ben Healy behind him, not finding it hard to follow. We don't want to go around because Ide Skelling is our best placed rider. So we're going to come across the line. We'll actually turn Ben Healy down a little bit to let Ide Skelling come across the line in first place, followed by Mark Hirschi and Ben Healy. And we hope we have a big enough gap back to Caleb Ewan and Taco Vanderhorn, but it's looking increasingly likely that we have just won the Santos Tour Down Under. And there is Ide Skelling on top of the podium for the second time this race. And we have a 9-second gap to Pidcock, a 17-second gap to Mari Van Sevenon, and I do not see Caleb Ewan or the other guy. It doesn't even matter anymore because we are the top 3 of the Santos Tour Down Under. Taco Vanderhorn is the name I was looking for, coming in 4th place. A great try from him, but at the end of the day, we snatched life from the jaws of defeat. We almost snatched defeat from the jaws of life. But a great first win for the Team Sky Boys, as Ben Healy also wins Best Climber. Just as a domestique, a great win. And in the points classification, Caleb Ewan does get his rewards. And in the young rider classification, Ben Healy comes in first once again. And in the team classification, no surprise, it's Team Sky on top. So 1 World Tour race and 1 World Tour race won for the boys. And a bit more good news before we end the episode. Max van der Meulen has moved up to a 4-star, 75 in the hills, 70 in the medium mountains, 72 in the mountains. We have him currently training on stage races, so hopefully that recovery and resistance gets to where it needs to be, and then we can specialize him a bit more. And that is going to wrap it up for episode 11, or episode 1 of season 2 of our Team Sky career mode, which I would say is very successful. The new boys already paying off. Ide Skelling getting the win, Mark Hirschi getting a stage win as well, and I am super excited for the direction that this team's heading in, and I'm already turning my head toward the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France. I think we can really make some noise there, get some stage wins, and try and fight for GC. That might be a losing battle, but as long as we get a top 10 in one of those two races, I think we're going to be where we need to be. But for now, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support. It means the world. Glad you're enjoying the series. And if you did enjoy the content in this episode, feel free to subscribe. I put out one episode of the Team Sky career mode every weekend, and at least one episode of our Pro Cyclist mode every week. I try to do two, but sometimes, especially recently, life circumstances have just made that impossible. So thank you for bearing with me. But until next time, I will see you later.